What is up, guys? Okay, so this is going to be a quick kind of guide here on Resto Shaman RBG or just normal Battleground build that I've been kind of playing with here. So I'm going to go ahead and go real briefly through the talents here. We are in queue for Seething Shores, so as soon as that pops, we'll go in, play a game, kind of get a seed in action, as well as... Oh, let's see. Oh, what did I get? That doesn't look that exciting. Anyway, sorry. So up here for the talents, at level 15 row, you can run Unleash Life, which is not a bad pick at all. However, it does waste a global, not waste, but it uses a global cooldown, which was kind of weird. I tried playing with this a little bit and did some numbers and kind of tried to figure out, the value of this. Kind of hard to quantify it. So Undulation's a really good pick that's just passive. So I'm going to test some more on this, so maybe I'll check back in later and have some more, kind of explanation and value on this talent, because it does affect every bounce of your chain heal, so there is some synergy there for sure. I just haven't had enough time to really test it and play with it. So Undulation for right now is what I'm running as my default. Gust of Wind, default. Earth Grab or Lightning Surge, you pick. I prefer Earth Grab. Ancestral Guidance. Now, this is kind of an important one to talk about. The reason I don't like Crashing Waves is because since you run Tidebringer over here in the PvP talents, you end up getting a lot of Tidal Wave procs anyway, and I feel like I waste a lot of them if I'm running Crashing Waves. So for that reason, it's either one of these two options I feel like are more valuable, and I prefer having the cooldown rather than the kind of consistent healing output. I just find that Ancestral Guidance is very valuable to get your whole team back up. Functions very similarly to like an Ascendance almost. Earthen Shield is the go-to for sure here. It's just the most healing and mitigation that you have in this row for sure. You could either go in this row, Echo the Elements, or Bottomless Depths. If you're having mana issues and if you're just learning this build, I might suggest trying Bottomless Depths because it's a little more forgiving with your mana. But Echo the Elements I do find value in because especially getting 2 stacks of Healing Stream is really useful. Now, High Tide is the go-to here for sure because you're casting a lot of chain heals. So like we can look here, this was my last BG. I cast 20 chain heals. Each chain heal hit 5 people, right? You can see that on the far right, it says hit 100. So you gain a lot of value off this. Hitting one additional target is very valuable, and the bounce not being as much. What it is, it goes from 30% reduced heal to 15%. So that's pretty valuable in itself. Down to the honor talents real quick. Gladiator's Medallion is pretty standard here. I have been running Calming Waters a lot because if you're getting focused, this does really help you being able to get more casts off. They basically just end up having to waste all their interrupts on you, and a lot of times you can still then free cast after that pretty easily. Sky Fury Totem is the go-to here. Tidebringer is basically what this build is completely centered around. Grounding Totem is my favorite in this row as well. Now, Spirit Link. Spirit Link is a really, really awesome talent, and I don't see it used that often, but let me kind of explain the use case for it. So Spirit Link has no cooldown, which is the biggest thing to really understand about it. It is dispellable, which sucks, but when you cast it, what's going to happen is around you, so you can see, like, if I look here, I have a few people around me, I cast it, it's going to link to these 2 guys. So it linked to these 2. It links, I think it links to the closest of the people that you're next to. Let's see if we can test it again. Yeah. So a lot of times it'll link, so it'll link to those 2 guys. I think it links to whoever is closest to you proximity-wise. Anyway, tangent there. But the main thing to know is that at the time of casting it, if there's people within 15 yards of you, it will link to up to 2 people. This basically then acts like a Blessing of Sacrifice where all of you take 50% reduced damage, and that damage is redirected to the targets that are linked. So it's basically like Blessing of Sacrifice, but linking 3 people together rather than just 2. The other thing that's really important to know is that it increases the healing received while targets have the buff on those targets by 100% when it comes to chain heal and healing rain. So this directly synergizes with, oh, this is bad. I'm going to go over this way. It's like 8 of them there. No way. Directly synergizes with running Tidebringer, with basically all the stuff that we're running. Oh my goodness. That was gnarly. but yeah, so there's a lot of value in the synergy just between those abilities themselves, which is really important to kind of know and understand. And it's important to understand too, as far as kind of your, play style and priority of spells and things like that, to understand how well all of these synergize together. We have Bloodlust going. So right here I have this Windwalker on me, so I am going to go ahead and cast Spirit Link. Now I don't cast this on cooldown because it is mana intensive. But when I do start seeing that I'm going to get focused, I'll go ahead and cast it. And you can see I'm kind of trying to bait out their interrupts here. I'm going to go ahead and pop Shield Wall, and I'm going to pop Healing Tide. You can see that warrior I have right up here, that warrior did try to interrupt me. He missed. Oh, what the heck? But so this Demon Hunter's on me now. So now that I have Spirit Link up, even though it's only linked to one god, but basically I'm taking 50% reduced damage. So now I stacked that with things like my 13%, I think it is. Yeah, 13% damage mitigation from my healing stream. Things like 40% damage mitigation from Astral Shift. Things like 25% or 24% or whatever it is mitigation from my Ghost Wolf. Where are these guys? Are they just LOSing? Oh my god, what the hell? So here's an example I'm going to show you if I use some cooldowns here. Oh, he doesn't have his interrupt up. So I got stunned, that's fine. But basically I pop Ancestral Guidance, I pop Healing Tide, and it tops everyone off. So, pretty straightforward. You can see that Demon Hunter is dishing out some damage for sure. And we're not struggling too bad to deal with his pressure. Still doing decent on mana as well. Full poly, this is going to be a problem. My Paladin's going to die. Oh no, he got bubble. So another thing that's worth noting too is that since your Chain Heal does gain bonus healing when you're healing targets, I'm going to go ahead and trinket that. I'm going to wall, and I'm also going to drop a healing stream. I'm really making sure that I'm maximizing the efficiency of my procs here. I'm getting stunned again. I'm just going to make sure that I'm keeping my Spirit Link down as best I can. Try not to overlap it because it is so mana intensive. But pretty straightforward. Kept everyone alive. No one died. So anyway, this you can see here though my healing output's decent. So you can also see Healing Wave and Chain Heal both are about 33-34% of my healing done. So you can kind of see that's pretty consistent, I would say, between most of the games that I play with this spec, that as far as the distribution of heals. Sorry, I'm having to kind of focus here, so let's go ahead and... Now we got to interrupt, so I'm going to purge the crap out of this guy. I also am very low on mana, so this is going to be a tough one. Ooh, I don't have Trinket. I think we're going to die here. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. Actually, let's do this. Can we get it off? We got it. Nice. Nice work, team. So now we're okay. I'm going to hop out and drink because I literally have 0 mana. One thing I do really like is the use of the High Mountain Racial. I actually have a lot of fun using that, and as I've gotten kind of more comfortable using it, it really helps for a lot of situations, actually. Because basically like a second, gust almost. as far as getting away. So anyway, I'm going to peel out and drink. But we can see here, like if we look at the healing done, I'm doing a lot of healing, you know, and this is my first time having to drink. And not only the healing is definitely important, right? It's important to know like how much actual healing, like raw healing, can you pump out. But the bigger thing, it really is the utility of Resto Shaman compared to other healers, what you do bring to the table that other healers don't, while still being able to compete with healing numbers as well as provide unique utility, which is something that I definitely think this Spirit Link talent really does, because not only do you give yourself, it's going to cast on you 100% of the time, right? It's you plus 2 targets. So you're always going to have it. Most of the time you're the focus target, but in situations where someone else is the focus target, that's a huge value. If you're basically constantly 100% of the time able to keep a 50% damage mitigation on you and your healers, that is like absurdly valuable. It's insane. And the fact that people don't understand or acknowledge or utilize this talent at all, it seems like to me, from my experience, is pretty crazy to me. And the fact that people don't understand kind of this high value that you can bring to your teams, and more specifically to your healers and RBGs, is pretty insane. Not to mention you have Sky Fury Totem, which is really good for healers. You have Grounding Totem, which is really helpful for your healers in negating and mitigating CC. You have Grounding Totem. I think I already said that. You have Earthen Shield Totem that really helps as well. You know, you just have all this kind of cool utility that's so unique, you know, and specific to shamans that it's just, I'm really hoping people kind of start to really see the value of this build, and you're able to kind of see, you know, if optimized correctly, how well this build can do. Now, another thing I've been trying, and I'm really struggling with doing this, is trying to utilize Healing Rain more, because there's a lot of scenarios where you have, you know, prolonged team fights where you actually get a lot of healing out of Healing Rain. So for example, if you have your healers in the back and you have Spirit Link between the 3 healers, being able to, oh, that's annoying. Being able to have Healing Rain basically is a very powerful heal over time. If they have Spirit Link that's increasing that heal by 100%, it's really, really valuable. It makes it really difficult. Basically, all your healers are taking spread damage. You have a big, powerful spread, you know, heal over time effect on them. Not to mention any kind of burst healing you have from chain heals, any other passive healing you have on Riptides and things like that. Jesus, dude, what the hell? Just talking up a storm, and this guy's just, oh, juked him. So long. See ya. Bye. That's a good juke. He didn't see it coming. So I'm going to root him. I'm going to jump away. I need to actually, oh, this is going to be bad. Nope, I got it. Oh, I didn't even die. So this paladin did out heal me 7 million. It's okay. But let's look at the numbers here. So you can see there wasn't that much team fighting really at the end, unfortunately. So I didn't get to like showcase like just massive AoE healing, but you can see chain heal we cast 23 times, a total of 103 hits. So almost every single cast hit 5 targets. The other thing I really want to point out here too, which yeah, so you can see just overall the decent healing. You can kind of see Ancestral Guidance I used twice. So it's averaging about, you know, just under 2 million per use, which is pretty valuable. Earthen Shield Healing Stream did a lot of healing. It's really helpful. I really suggest downloading stuff like this to kind of see the actual value that you're getting for different abilities and stuff in PvP to help you prioritize what you're actually getting the most healing output through, you know, which talents, which abilities. But let's go through. I want to show you a couple things here real quick. Overhealing done. So let's look. So this guy's build, you can see this Disc Priest is the only one that had less overhealing than me. Point being, the only point in bringing this up is that this build, if you use it correctly, is very, very, very efficient as far as overhealing. If you have Mistweavers, if you have Holy Priests, if you have Resto Druids, a huge amount of their healing is all overhealing because they're basically just hotting everything up. So the important thing to really know, and the point of even mentioning that, is that all of your healing is very efficient. And on that note, kind of want to go through real quick here a breakdown. Now, this is, let's pop up BattleNet so that doesn't look so annoying. But there's a few things. I did different numbers on these because I was testing Unleash Life. I was testing Riptide. Riptide buff is I'm referring to as Deluge, the talent that gives you the 20% bonus healing if the target's affected by Riptide. So I was kind of messing with this and then combinations of the two. Point being, I didn't run Unleash Life. You are going to gain additional bonus on Healing Wave if you're running Undulation, right? Because you're going to have every third cast being increased by 50%. But there's a couple things I want to point out here is that if I was running Unleash Life to try and fairly maximize either spell, right, which you can do, I was getting a mana efficiency of 55 health per mana. Now keep in mind, all these numbers I tried to tailor to the PvP numbers I could best kind of fit as far as like baseline without accounting for mastery and versatility and all these other things. So this was as close as I could try to actually come up with when I was testing it in duels and things like that. Now the other thing that's worth noting is that if you have the same kind of effect and you maximize, now granted, say I'm not running Deluge, say I'm running Ancestral Guidance, you're going to have a similar value to Chain Heal and Ancestral Guidance as you will the same with the Deluge talent as well, because if you're healing, Ancestral Guidance lasts 10 seconds. If you're able to just output the most heals possible in that 10 seconds, you're going to innately gain more value from the Ancestral Guidance ability itself, right? Because it's 30% of whatever healing you do. So if you can burst heal for 10 seconds as much as possible, you're going to gain the most bang for your buck on that talent, right? So despite that this actual physical number might not be the same, in a situation where I'm running Ancestral Guidance and that's procced, this could be 4 or 5 million a chain heal as opposed to this 2.5, 3 million number, whatever it ends up being. So don't get too hung up on like this specific talent that I wasn't running that last game. Point being is that you can gain very similar, oops, I don't know what I did there, very similar efficiency on mana per health or health per mana. But the difference is that this healing, or sorry, chain heal costs almost 3 times as much mana. So think of it in the sense of your team is taking X amount of damage. You are able to basically cast 3 healing waves in the time that the enemy shaman that's not running this build is casting 1 healing wave. If you basically are able to come up with almost equivalent and identical mana per heal, sorry, health per mana, I keep saying it backwards, but you're using a spell that just costs more mana, but you're still gaining the same amount of efficiency per mana that you're spending. It's just more output, just higher healing output, more likely that you're able to save your entire team, less likely people are going to die. So it's important to know you will kind of eat through your mana a lot quicker than if you're just casting Riptide and Healing Wave. However, you have so much more healing output than you would have otherwise. That's really too is that shamans, no matter what spec you're running, you still have a lot of utility because you're going to have some kind of totem in your talents, you know, whether it's Sky Fury or whatever, like those talents are going to stay the same. So the goal with this is to basically tweak the parts that you can that affect just your raw healing output, and how can we maximize that in a situation that's like a BG, RBG situation. Anyways, you know, sorry for ranting there. Oh, that's annoying. But hopefully that kind of breaks down some of this information numerically. You can see some in-game footage. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Test this out. Let me know if it's working for you. If not, you know, let me know what you're tweaking, what you're changing. What are you having success with this kind of a play style in Battlegrounds and RBGs? Let me know your thoughts. I'd really love to hear it. I'm really trying to get Resto Shaman back up into that mainstream when it comes to Battlegrounds and RBGs. So let me know what you guys are testing out and what's working. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Have a good one.